Are you feeling more tired than usual lately, even after a good night's sleep? Do you find yourself needing more rest, skipping activities, or simply lacking the energy to do the things you used to enjoy? Most people over 60 assume that fatigue is just a normal part of aging. I'm not as young as I used to be, we say. But what if that tiredness wasn't just from aging? What if it was your body trying to warn you of something deeper, something more serious? The truth is, persistent fatigue is not something we should ignore. When your body's running low on energy day after day, it's often a signal that something isn't working right. It might be your heart. It might be your blood. It could be your thyroid, your mood, or even your nutrition. In some cases, it could be an early sign of a serious illness, one that gives you no other symptoms, just that slow, silent exhaustion that creeps in and takes over. In today's video, we're going to uncover the real reasons behind unexplained fatigue after 70. Reasons that can't be fixed by more naps or stronger coffee. We'll share the stories of real people who ignored their tiredness until it became something dangerous. And we'll show you how to recognize when that normal fatigue might actually be your final warning. But don't worry, this isn't about fear, it's about awareness. It's about protecting your independence, your clarity, and your ability to enjoy life fully. The good news is, once you understand what your body is telling you, you can take action. And sometimes that action can save your life. So stay with us through this video. What you hear today could be the most important health message you receive this year. I know you are a person who likes to watch videos quietly. If you have not liked and subscribed to the channel, now is a good time to do it because you are a kind person. If the video is helpful, press 1. If the video is not good enough or needs improvement, press 2. Thanks everyone. Now let's get started. Number 1, when fatigue becomes chronic, it's not just getting older. George, 75, had always been a strong, dependable man. A retired construction worker and loving grandfather, he prided himself on still being able to mow his lawn and carry groceries without help. But over the past few months, something changed. He started feeling tired all the time. Not the kind of tired you shake off after a nap. This was different. It lingered. He'd wake up tired, feel wiped out after making breakfast, and often canceled afternoon plans because he just didn't have the energy. Maybe I'm just getting old, he told himself. This is what aging feels like. He didn't want to complain or worry his family, so he pushed through it. But one morning after walking up a short flight of stairs left him dizzy and gasping for air, George knew this wasn't normal. He finally went to the doctor, and it turned out he was in the early stages of heart failure. George's story is far more common than many people realize. For older adults, fatigue is often dismissed as a natural part of aging. And yes, our bodies do slow down with time. We don't recover quite as fast, and energy may not be as abundant as it once was. But there's a big difference between normal tiredness and chronic fatigue. The latter is a warning sign, one that should never be ignored. So, what exactly is chronic fatigue? It's more than just feeling sleepy. It's a deep, ongoing lack of energy that doesn't improve with rest. It may show up as physical exhaustion after doing everyday tasks like dressing, cooking, or taking a short walk. It might be accompanied by a foggy mind, irritability, shortness of breath, or a general feeling of heaviness in the body. If you find yourself constantly needing to sit down, cancel plans, or feeling like even the simplest activities are too much, that's not just aging. That's your body saying, pay attention. Scientifically, fatigue is often a result of the body not getting what it needs. That could be oxygen, nutrients, proper circulation, hormonal balance, or restorative sleep. When any of these systems fall out of balance, fatigue is often the first symptom to appear, long before pain, fever, or anything else shows up. That's why fatigue is sometimes called the quiet symptom. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And because it whispers, many people ignore it until it becomes something louder, like a collapse, a hospitalization, or worse. The danger lies in thinking, I'm just slowing down, and not seeking answers. That delay can mean missing the chance to treat a condition early, when it's still manageable or reversible. Like George, many people assume their fatigue is just part of aging, and by the time they get checked out, they're already in a much more advanced stage of illness. So what can you do? First, pay attention to your patterns. Is your fatigue getting worse over time? Is it interfering with your daily life? Do you feel tired even after a full night's rest? Are you finding it harder to do things you used to enjoy? These are important clues. Second, keep a fatigue journal. Note the time of day when fatigue is worst, what you were doing beforehand, what you ate, and how long it lasts. Also note any other symptoms like dizziness, shortness of breath, swelling in your legs, or brain fog. Bring this information to your doctor. It can help identify the cause much faster. Third, don't be afraid to speak up. Many older adults downplay their symptoms out of fear of being seen as weak or a burden, but your life and your health are worth speaking up for. Tell your doctor clearly and honestly, "I feel tired all the time, and it's not normal for me." That one sentence can be the start of real healing. Lastly, don't wait for things to get worse. The sooner you get answers, the sooner you can take action. Whether that means adjusting medications, improving your nutrition, treating an underlying condition, or making lifestyle changes to support your energy levels. Fatigue isn't always dangerous, but when it lingers, when it deepens, when it changes how you live, it's no longer something to ignore. It's a message. And the sooner you listen, the better chance you have of taking control of your health and your future. In the next section, we'll explore how fatigue could be the very first sign of a hidden heart condition and what you need to watch out for before it's too late. Number 2, hidden heart problems that start with fatigue. Linda had always considered herself a healthy woman. At 74, she still took daily walks around her neighborhood and tended to her backyard garden. She never smoked, kept her blood pressure in check, and avoided salty foods. But a few months ago, she began to notice a strange change. Walking up the driveway to get the mail left her feeling winded. Cooking a simple dinner felt exhausting. She started taking more naps during the day, and even then, she never truly felt rested. At first, she thought it might be her age catching up with her, but when she had to sit down halfway through folding laundry because her heart was pounding and she was short of breath, she knew something wasn't right. After visiting her doctor and undergoing a few tests, she received a diagnosis that surprised her. Congestive heart failure in its early stage. Linda had no chest pain, no obvious palpitations, and no history of a heart attack. The only warning her body gave her was a creeping, unexplained fatigue. And that's the thing about heart problems in older adults. They don't always scream. Sometimes they whisper through persistent tiredness, breathlessness, or a general slowing down. Unfortunately, many people mistake these early signs for simply getting old. So how does the heart cause fatigue, and why is it often the first symptom? Your heart is a pump, a tireless engine that works around the clock to push oxygen-rich blood to every part of your body. When it starts to weaken, it can no longer pump blood efficiently. This means your muscles, brain, and organs aren't getting the oxygen and nutrients they need to function at full strength. As a result, even small amounts of physical effort feel overwhelming. Your body begins to slow down in response, hoping to conserve energy. That's why when the heart is in trouble, one of the first things you'll feel is exhaustion. In heart failure or other forms of heart disease, the fatigue often builds gradually. You may notice that you used to walk for 30 minutes without an issue. Now you need to stop after 10. You used to carry groceries easily. Now they feel too heavy. You used to enjoy visiting family, shopping, or going to church. Now it feels like too much trouble. It's not just physical tiredness. It's a deep, whole-body fatigue that doesn't go away with sleep. And here's what's especially important. In older adults, fatigue is sometimes the only early symptom of a heart condition. There may be no chest pain, no dramatic collapse, no emergency. Just a quiet decline in stamina that feels like aging, but isn't. If any of these symptoms sound familiar, especially in combination with fatigue, it's important to speak with your doctor as soon as possible. Catching heart problems early can make a huge difference in treatment options and outcomes. What can you do if you suspect your fatigue is heart-related? First, don't ignore the feeling. If your fatigue is new, worsening, or interfering with daily life, it's worth investigating. Keep track of when it happens, how long it lasts, what makes it better or worse, and whether it's accompanied by any of the symptoms above. Second, ask your doctor for a full cardiac workup, especially if you have risk factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, or a family history of heart disease. Tests like an EKG, echocardiogram, or stress test can reveal problems you can't feel. Third, consider lifestyle changes that support heart health. Even small steps like reducing salt, walking gently each day, and managing stress can ease the burden on your heart and improve your energy levels. Sometimes medication is needed to strengthen the heart or manage related conditions, and when used early, these can be highly effective. Most importantly, don't brush off your fatigue as just age. Your body knows when something isn't right, and that persistent tiredness might be the only signal it can send. If Linda had waited longer to speak up, her heart failure could have progressed to a much more dangerous stage. But because she listened to her body, she was able to make changes, start treatment, and reclaim her strength, one step at a time. The heart is quiet, powerful, and essential. And when it's struggling, your energy is often the first thing to go. So if you feel your stamina slipping, your breath shortening, your strength fading, don't chalk it up to aging. Listen closely. It might be your heart asking for help. In the next section, we'll explore another common, and often hidden, cause of chronic fatigue in older adults. Anemia, the silent energy thief that can leave you feeling drained from the inside out. Number 3, anemia, the silent energy thief. Frank was 72 and had always been an early riser. A former mailman, he was used to walking several miles a day, and even in retirement, he enjoyed morning walks and tending to his garden. But over the course of a few weeks, something changed. He began feeling unusually tired. His legs felt heavy, and he couldn't finish his morning routine without needing to sit down. He felt lightheaded when getting up too quickly, and noticed that climbing stairs left him breathless. When he looked in the mirror one morning, he thought he looked a little pale, but chalked it up to poor lighting. It wasn't until his daughter visited and pointed out that he looked washed out that Frank decided to see his doctor. A simple blood test revealed the problem. Anemia. Anemia may not sound like a serious condition, but in older adults, it can quietly drain your energy, weaken your body, and increase your risk of falls, confusion, and even hospitalization. Often referred to as the silent energy thief, anemia happens when your body doesn't have enough healthy red blood cells to carry oxygen to your organs and tissues. Without enough oxygen, your cells can't produce energy effectively, and you feel it in every part of your body. So what causes anemia in older adults? There are several potential culprits. One of the most common is iron deficiency, which can result from blood loss, sometimes obvious, like heavy bleeding from hemorrhoids or ulcers, but often hidden, such as slow, chronic bleeding in the stomach or intestines. Other causes include vitamin B12 or folate deficiency, which are essential for red blood cell production and are often lacking in older adults due to poor absorption or limited diet. Some people may develop anemia due to chronic diseases like kidney failure, cancer, or inflammatory conditions. Even certain medications can interfere with red blood cell production or iron absorption. Frank, for example, had most of these, but he dismissed them as just getting older. That's why anemia is so dangerous. It sneaks in quietly, masks itself as age-related fatigue, and continues to wear down your strength unless someone catches it. Fortunately, anemia is often very treatable, especially when caught early. Frank's doctor started by checking his complete blood count, CBC, a simple test that measures the number and quality of red blood cells in the body. Once anemia was confirmed, they ran additional tests to determine the cause. In his case, it was slow internal bleeding from an untreated stomach ulcer. With proper treatment, dietary adjustments, and iron supplements, Frank gradually regained his energy and returned to his morning walks. So what can you do if you suspect you might have anemia? First, listen to your body. If you've been feeling more tired than usual, out of breath easily, or simply not yourself, especially if you've also noticed you're looking paler or getting dizzy, it's time to talk to your doctor. Ask for a blood test. Even if your symptoms seem small, don't ignore them. Second, eat foods rich in iron, B12, and folate, such as spinach, lentils, beans, red meat, if tolerated, eggs, and fortified cereals. However, food alone may not be enough. especially if your body isn't absorbing nutrients properly, so it's important to follow your doctor's guidance on supplements or further treatment. Third, watch for hidden bleeding, especially if you notice dark or tarry stools, unexplained bruising, or even persistent digestive discomfort. These could be signs that your body is losing blood somewhere you can't see. Fourth, review your medications with your doctor or pharmacist. Some medications like NSAIDs, such as ibuprofen, can irritate the stomach lining and contribute to internal bleeding over time. Others may affect how your body absorbs nutrients. Make sure your healthcare team knows everything you're taking, including over-the-counter pills and supplements. And lastly, don't accept extreme fatigue as just aging. You know your body. If your energy suddenly drops, if your heart races during minor activity, or if your brain feels foggy more days than not, trust your instincts. Anemia can be treated. The earlier it's detected, the faster you can get back to living life with clarity, strength, and purpose. Frank's story is a powerful reminder that something as simple as a routine blood test can change your life. Don't wait until the fatigue becomes debilitating. Catch it early. Act early. Because sometimes the smallest symptoms are the body's way of warning you before something bigger happens. In the next section, we'll explore another often missed cause of persistent tiredness in older adults. One that hides behind a smile and silence. Depression. Number 4. Depression masquerading as tiredness. Ellie was 77 and had always been the heart of her family. She loved holiday gatherings, Sunday dinners, and especially baking cookies for her grandchildren. But after her husband passed away 2 years ago, things slowly began to change. She stopped decorating for the holidays. She didn't bake as often. She spent more time sitting by the window, watching the world go by. At first, her children thought she was just slowing down. But when she began canceling visits and saying she was just too tired, they started to worry. Ellie herself thought the same. Maybe she was just getting old. But beneath that persistent fatigue was something deeper, something she didn't have the words for. Depression. In older adults, depression doesn't always look like sadness. In fact, it often hides behind other symptoms, especially chronic tiredness, a lack of motivation, or disinterest in things that once brought joy. Many seniors never say, "I feel depressed." Instead, they say, "I'm just tired all the time," or "I don't feel like doing anything anymore." And because these feelings are often chalked up to aging or grief, depression in the elderly is frequently missed, misdiagnosed, or simply endured in silence. So how does depression lead to fatigue? The brain and body are deeply connected. When we experience depression, the brain's chemistry shifts, especially levels of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which regulate mood, motivation, and energy. A lack of these chemicals doesn't just affect how we feel emotionally, it also changes how our body functions. You may feel heavy, sluggish, or find it hard to get out of bed. Everyday tasks like getting dressed, cooking breakfast, or going to the store feel overwhelming. You might also have trouble sleeping, or on the opposite end, sleep too much, yet still wake up feeling exhausted. What makes this even more difficult is that many older adults grew up in a time when talking about mental health was rare, even taboo. People were taught to tough it out, be strong, or not burden others. So when depression sets in, it often goes unspoken. People like Ellie may feel something is wrong, but they don't know how to describe it and don't want to be a bother. But here's the truth. Depression is not weakness. It's not something you can just snap out of. It's a real medical condition, and it's treatable. So how can you tell the difference between simple fatigue and depression? If several of these sound familiar, especially if they've been going on for more than 2 weeks, it's time to have a gentle conversation with your doctor or a mental health professional. Let's go back to Ellie's story. After some encouragement from her daughter, she agreed to talk to her doctor. Through that conversation, she was referred to a counselor who specialized in working with older adults. They talked weekly, sometimes about her grief, other times about her daily routine, and little by little, Ellie began to find herself again. Her doctor also prescribed a low-dose antidepressant, and after a few weeks, she felt a shift. It wasn't dramatic, but she started saying yes to family dinners again. She baked her first batch of cookies in over a year. She smiled more. and most importantly, she felt less tired. If you're feeling this way, you are not alone, and there is nothing to be ashamed of. Depression affects millions of older adults, especially those who faced major life changes, loss of a spouse, retirement, chronic illness, or the natural transitions of aging. But just like a broken bone or high blood pressure, depression can be treated, and healing can begin at any age. Remember, feeling tired all the time doesn't always mean your body's giving out. Sometimes it means your heart and mind are hurting quietly, but pain that's hidden can still be healed. You don't have to suffer in silence. There is hope, there is help, and there is a way back to joy, lightness, and energy. In the next section, we'll take a closer look at another cause of deep fatigue in older adults, one that starts on your plate and affects every cell in your body: nutritional deficiencies. Number 5, nutritional deficiencies that drain your energy. Carlos was always known for his energy. At 70, he still helped fix things around the house, volunteered at his church, and prided himself on being young at heart. But over time, he noticed a strange shift. His energy began to fade. He didn't feel sick exactly, just tired. He needed more naps, struggled to concentrate, and sometimes felt dizzy when standing up. At first, he blamed it on stress or poor sleep, but when he started forgetting simple things, like names or appointments, and felt a constant heaviness in his body, he knew it was more than just getting older. A blood test revealed what no one expected. Carlos was severely deficient in vitamin B12, a key nutrient that helps produce red blood cells and keeps the nervous system functioning properly. Carlos's story is not unusual. In fact, nutritional deficiencies are one of the most overlooked causes of fatigue in older adults. As we age, our ability to absorb certain vitamins and minerals naturally declines. Add in medications, chronic conditions, reduced appetite, or limited diets, and suddenly the body no longer gets what it needs to keep energy flowing. So, what exactly are the most common nutrient deficiencies that drain your energy after age 60? Vitamin B12, essential for brain health, red blood cell production, and nerve function. Deficiency can cause extreme tiredness, memory problems, balance issues, and even mood changes. B12 is found in animal products like meat, eggs, and dairy, and is often poorly absorbed as we age, especially if you take acid-reducing medications. Iron, needed to make hemoglobin, the protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen. Without enough iron, you may develop anemia, which we discussed earlier. Iron deficiency is more common in those who've had blood loss, follow restrictive diets, or have poor nutrient absorption due to digestive issues. Vitamin D helps regulate mood, supports immune function, and is critical for muscle and bone health. Low levels can leave you feeling achy, tired, and depressed. Since our skin becomes less efficient at producing vitamin D from sunlight as we age, supplementation is often needed. Magnesium, involved in over 300 biochemical processes in the body, including energy production. Low magnesium can lead to muscle cramps, sleep problems, and chronic fatigue. Many older adults don't get enough magnesium from their diet due to processed foods or poor absorption. Folate, vitamin B9, works closely with B12 to help make DNA and red blood cells. A deficiency can cause fatigue, poor concentration, and irritability. Folate is found in leafy greens, beans, and fortified grains. The tricky part? Most of these deficiencies don't cause dramatic symptoms right away. They creep in slowly. You might not realize that your poor memory, low mood, or persistent exhaustion are connected to what's missing on your plate, or what your body isn't absorbing properly. So what can you do to protect your energy? First, get tested. Don't guess. Ask your doctor to check your levels of B12, vitamin D, iron, and folate, especially if you've been feeling tired, foggy, or weaker than usual. A simple blood test can reveal whether you need supplementation or dietary changes. Second, rebuild your plate. Focus on nutrient-dense, whole foods that are rich in the vitamins and minerals your body craves. Incorporate leafy greens like spinach, kale, and Swiss chard, beans, lentils, and chickpeas, lean meats, eggs and low-fat dairy, if tolerated, nuts, seeds, and whole grains, fatty fish like salmon or sardines for omega-3s and vitamin D, fortified cereals or nutritional yeast, great sources of B12 for vegetarians. Third, don't forget healthy fats. Your body needs fat to absorb fat-soluble vitamins like D, A, E, and K. Include avocados, olive oil, and a few nuts and seeds in your meals to help your body make the most of the nutrients you eat. Fourth, be mindful of medications. Some commonly used drugs, like metformin for diabetes, proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux, or diuretics for high blood pressure, can interfere with the absorption of key nutrients. If you're on multiple medications, speak with your doctor or a registered dietitian about how they might affect your nutrition. Fifth, consider a high-quality multivitamin or targeted supplements, but don't self-diagnose. While supplements can be helpful, taking too much of certain nutrients can also be harmful. Always check with a healthcare provider before starting something new. Finally, listen to your body. If you feel unusually tired, moody, or mentally foggy, don't just blame it on age. Fatigue that doesn't improve with rest is a signal that something deeper might be going on. Nutritional deficiencies are reversible, and in many cases, people feel dramatically better within weeks of correcting them. Carlos, after just a few months of B12 injections and dietary changes, felt like himself again. His memory improved, his steps got lighter, and his love for life returned. He said, "I didn't realize how far I drifted until I felt the difference." You might be just one nutrient away from feeling stronger, brighter, and more alive. In the next section, we'll take a look at a more serious cause of lingering fatigue, one that many people fear, but few catch early: cancer and chronic illness that often begin with nothing more than a sense of, "I'm just tired all the time." Number 6, fatigue as a warning of cancer or chronic disease. Mary, 74, had always been full of life. A retired teacher, she spent her mornings reading on the porch, took pride in preparing healthy meals, and rarely missed a walk around her block. So when she started feeling tired all the time, she assumed it was just the natural course of getting older. She noticed that her daily walks became shorter. She needed more breaks, and by mid-afternoon, all she wanted to do was lie down. Over time, she lost a bit of weight, not intentionally, and found herself skipping meals. Her sleep became restless, her mood dulled, and even though nothing hurt, she just felt off. She didn't have a cold. She didn't have pain, just a quiet, persistent exhaustion. When she finally went to the doctor, they ordered a series of tests. The results revealed something Mary never expected. She had early-stage colon cancer. Mary's story is difficult, but not uncommon. Many types of cancer and chronic diseases begin quietly, and one of the most overlooked early warning signs is persistent fatigue. When you don't feel obviously sick, no pain, no fever, no dramatic symptoms, but your energy has disappeared and won't come back, that's a red flag worth investigating. Fatigue caused by cancer isn't like the tiredness you feel after a busy day. It's a deep, whole-body fatigue that doesn't go away with sleep or rest. It can come on gradually, making it easy to ignore at first, but it grows. You might feel winded after simple chores. You might start canceling social plans. You may lose interest in food, feel mentally foggy, or begin to withdraw from the things you once enjoyed. Over time, this fatigue can become one of the only clues your body gives you that something more serious is happening. But why does cancer, or other chronic diseases, cause fatigue? The answer is complex. Cancer cells grow rapidly and consume a large amount of the body's nutrients and energy. They release inflammatory chemicals into the bloodstream that interfere with how your body normally functions. These changes steal energy from your muscles, your brain, and your immune system, leaving you feeling wiped out even after doing very little. In addition, your body often tries to fight the disease quietly in the background, which further drains your reserves. Beyond cancer, other chronic illnesses, such as kidney disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, congestive heart failure, liver disease, or autoimmune conditions, also share fatigue as a key symptom. In these cases, the body is constantly under strain, often working harder just to maintain basic functions like breathing, circulation, and waste removal. The result? You feel tired all the time, even though you may not see or feel obvious signs of disease. So how do you know when your fatigue might be something more serious? Here are some red flags to watch for. Fatigue that lasts more than 2 weeks and isn't improving with rest. Unexplained weight loss. Loss of appetite or early satiety, feeling full quickly. Night sweats or persistent low-grade fevers. Unusual, bleeding, bruising, or changes in bowel habits. A sense of something being off, even if you can't quite describe it. Fatigue combined with shortness of breath, pale skin, or yellowing eyes. A gradual loss of strength or increasing need to sleep during the day. If any of these sound familiar, especially when paired with long-lasting tiredness, it's time to listen closely to your body and speak to your doctor. Getting answers doesn't mean you'll automatically hear bad news. Sometimes fatigue points to a treatable condition, like a hormone imbalance, low iron, or a lingering infection. But in some cases, early detection of something more serious, like cancer, could literally save your life. The sooner a problem is found, the better the chance of successful treatment, less invasive care, and a quicker return to normal life. The key is not to wait. Don't assume that tiredness is just a part of aging, especially if it's getting worse, interfering with your routine, or coming with other changes you can't explain. Don't convince yourself to push through it without knowing what's really going on. Your fatigue might be your body's only way of asking for help. Mary's early diagnosis gave her time and options. She had surgery followed by a short round of treatment, and today she's back to enjoying her books, her walks, and her time with family. She often tells others, "I'm so glad I didn't ignore it. If I had waited longer, things could have turned out very differently." So ask yourself, is my tiredness trying to tell me something? Have I stopped feeling like myself, even though nothing seems wrong? If so, trust your gut and take that next step to talk to someone. You are your best advocate, and you deserve answers. In the next section, we'll help you understand how to tell the difference between normal aging fatigue and warning signs that demand attention, with practical tips you can use right away. Feeling tired all the time isn't just a part of aging. It can be your body's way of saying, something's wrong. From heart issues and hidden illness to depression or nutritional deficiencies, fatigue can be the first and only warning sign. Don't ignore it. Listen to your body. Ask questions. Seek help. You deserve to feel strong, clear, and alive, no matter your age. A simple conversation with your doctor could change everything. Sometimes the quietest symptoms speak the loudest truth, and the earlier you listen, the better your chance to heal, recover, and truly live. Thanks for being here today. We hope this video gave you something useful or meaningful to take away. If it did, please like the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We share new content each week focused on healthy aging, wellness, and practical advice for living well. Tap the bell icon so you'll be the first to know when a new video is released. We're glad to have you with us. See you next time.